Well, here they're putting superego as something different than id. That's interesting. The id, ego, and superego. Because I always thought that the superego was the id. So, you know, the steward of the light body is what the id is. That's how the Buddhists talk about it. The reasoned ego balances the id's impulses with reality. With the simulation, not fucking reality. Operating via the reality principle to manage behavior. Manage behavior. Like handling. Yeah. I never liked Freud. I always preferred Carl Jung. So the id overriding the ego and superego helps frame it as a temporary loss of control. See this shit, man? It's like handling 101 for this place. So he's actually voting for the ego, right? I mean, look at it. He's literally voting for the ego, which I've said are 7 devils rotating from Binfeld's classification of demons. Asmodeus is your lust. You know, Buddhists say all suffering comes from desire. And then there's pride, Lucifer, Satan, wrath, etc. So when you wrath, you're empowering Satan. You know, when you pride, you're empowering Lucifer. That's how it works. And so he's just empowering the devil as a thing, as an ego. Yes, everything is based in ego here, I get it. I'm not fucking retarded. But what we're trying to do is upgrade all that and or demolish it, right? He's still supporting it. Manage your anxiety. Yeah, well, often anxiety is just not knowing, right? Because the mindscape's confused because we come into this place, get wiped from the higher thoughts, come into this shattered ego, which is a separate identity. So of course, right, we're going to have anxiety. See, this is the OP trick, to view from below here, and it makes you like want to go to it because you might feel better. But if you don't understand this stuff like how I've just explained it, you're just going to end up turning into an OP. I've always thought that of him. Yeah, knowing ourselves deeply through analysis and reflection, but that's not done through fucking the ego. You know what I mean? That's where the shit just turns to mud from pure water. You know what I mean? Like they give you little half-truths. Oh, to grow, it's painful. Yeah, no shit. And then they rigmarole it in the seasoning of Freud's shit from the ego perspective, psychoanalysis from the ego perspective. And it's clearly been stated. I mean, again, that's true. Yeah, mastering sexual impulses, recognizing narcissistic tendencies. I mean, this is good, right? Freud argued men who haven't separated properly from their mothers in youth struggle to build intimacy as adults. Well, I'd be a case example for him and all of the MGTOW movement. You see, that's why this is a MGTOW video before I even said it now. I thought that right at the start. Well, because the title, what it was, remember? It's about men. Yeah, obviously we can benefit from identifying relationship fears rooted in past trauma, obviously. again, these like little half-truth things, it's like, it makes you like want to hug the theory and go, oh, this is good. And, you know, in a way we do want to enlighten the ego, but it's like, you got to be so careful with this stuff. That's why I'm even analysing it. I've never studied psychology like at uni. I was an information technology business guy. But I have, you know, talked about it in my books even, and Carl Jung's gonna be talked about in OP Matrix Guide more, I think, even. And I do just look into psychology. I don't get what any of this has to do with the ego, moderating our thoughts, all this. To me, this is what the id does. Now he's just like associating the id with crazy Carl Jung and his theories kind of thing. You get what I mean? I know what I mean. You see that, right? Like he was like the opposer of Carl kind of thing. Not, I don't know how enemy they were, but you know what I mean? If you read about it all. They weren't like the best of friends from what I remember reading about. They had their disagreements, like just like I feel I would with this guy. I reckon he'd be very stubborn, Zigmund. Like ego stubborn, like OP ego stubborn. Remember, desire is another word for lust. Asmodeus is the lust devil, the king devil. Then we can't abolish this shit. So I mean, it's like you may as well get into Freud's theories, because we're never going to abolish the ego because it's this world. You know what I mean? So all this is for me is how much you want to attach to this place, how much do you want to turn into one of them. It's a great guide for just inuring into like an OP state. And like I said just before, I think most of these things are done better from the id perspective, from the higher self perspective, if that's what he means by id. But I didn't know, you know, why is he separating super ego? I need an explanation of what the fuck that is then. Because I always thought id was the same as super ego. Right. Oh, I'm not going to go into that. You can read the rest of that article. I got a new job today, selling gurneys, so we'll see. I gotta go.